Hello everyone. Today, I'm at the Kakazu Ridge Park, one of the fiercest battlefields of Battle of Okinawa. It looks peaceful now, but back then, the ridge was a battlefield. On April 8, 1945, US Marines began their assault on Kakazu Ridge. The defenders were units of the Japanese 62nd Division. They hid inside tunnels and caves, firing machine gun and artillery. Despite overwhelming firepower, the American advance was slowed. It's called Tochika. The gun is shooted from these holes. The Japanese had dug an extensive system of caves and bunkers. They used these to shelter command posts and soldiers. American forces bombarded the ridge with artillery and naval gunfire. Still, the defenders held their ground, inflicting heavy losses. For several days, the ridge became the center of brutal, close combat. At the time, the overall commander was General Mitsuru Ushijima of the Japanese 32nd Army. His strategy was attrition, to delay the US advance, inflict casualties, and buy time for Japan to prepare for the defense of the homeland. Kakazu Ridge was the first key line of the defense. Holding this ridge meant protecting Shiri and prolonging the battle. And indeed, the US advance was delayed by almost 10 days, a temporary success of Ushijima's strategy. In Kakazu Ridge, a fierce battle between Japanese and American tanks took place. In April 1945, as the Battle of Okinawa raged on, American forces advanced toward Kakazu Ridge. Alongside their infantry, they developed M4 Sherman medium tanks. The Sherman weighed about 30 tons, with armor up to 75 mm thick. It carried a 75 km main gun, plus three machine guns. On the field and roads of Okinawa, this was more than enough firepower. The Americans lined up dozens of these tanks side by side, pushing toward the ridge in one massive assault. The ground shook. The roar of engines clouded through the hills. To the Japanese defenders, these steel monsters must have felt like an unstoppable nightmare coming straight at them. Defending Kakazu Ridge was Japan's 62nd Division, but unlike the Americans, the Japanese had no heavy tanks on Okinawa. Their weapons against armor were extremely limited. Their main options were 47 mm anti-tank guns, few in number, difficult to move, mines and subtle charges, Molotov cocktails and grenades. And finally, the last resort, suicidal attacks with explosives. Japanese troops hid inside caves and underground tunnels, waiting until the enemy was close. When the tank came near, they would rush out all at once, hurling molotovs, planning to explosives, or even strapping bombs to their own bodies. During the first few days, the Japanese defender fought fiercely from ambush. Shermans hit by 47 mm anti-tank guns at close range burst into flames. American infantry, shocked by the explosions, scattered in panic. Some tanks were dosed with Molotov cocktails, fire spreading inside the crew compartment. American soldiers tried to escape, only to be engulfed in flames. Soon, the roads and fields around Kakazu were littered with smoking tank wrecks. Even for the mighty US Army, Kakazu was no easy battlefield. But the Americans did not retreat. Whenever one tank was destroyed, another roared forward to take its place. Behind them, naval guns and aircraft rained down firepower, turning the entire ridge into an inferno. The Japanese soldiers dove into caves during the bombardments, only to crawl back out afterward and continue fighting. Daytime means artillery baggage and tank assault. Nightmare brought Japanese counter-targets and close combat. It was a cycle of destruction that created a true hell on earth, a battle without rest, day or night. As fighting dragged on, Japanese ammunition began to run out. In desperation, soldiers turned more and more to suicide tactics. One American soldier later recalled, "A Japanese soldier leaped onto our tank straight. He had explosives strapped to his body. We fired desperately, but the explosion stopped the tank cold." On the Japanese side, there are testimonies too. My comrade charged the tank with the explosives in his arms. The blast tore him apart. Pieces of his body rained down on us. I felt like I was losing my mind from the horror. Yes, these attacks sometimes destroyed tanks, but every success cost a young soldier's life. The fields of Kakazu became soaked in fire, blood, and shattered flesh. The tragedy extended beyond the soldiers. Okinawan civilians, unable to escape, took shelter in caves. Many were buried alive when shells collapsed the tunnel. Families huddled alongside soldiers, only to die together as bombs rained down. Survivors described the battlefield: smoke and fire everywhere, explosions so constant that even daylight felt like night. One soldier said, "My ears went deaf. I shouted, but my voice never reached my comrades." Kakazu was a place where sound, sight, and hope were drowned in chaos. After days of fighting, Japanese supplies were nearly gone. The caves overflowed with wounded soldiers. The smell of blood and death filled the tunnel, choking those still alive. Even so, Japanese troops launched night raids, desperately taking out tanks and infantry. But against overwhelming firepower, the Japanese could not hold the ridge forever. Eventually, they retreated south to Maeda Ridge and Russell Castle. Kakazu Ridge was lost, but the fierce defense marked the beginning of the long, exhausting battle that defended Okinawa. This is called the Tower of Kyoto. This monument was erected because many soldiers from Kyoto Prefecture died. This is a monument called the Wall of Red Holes. These holes are the marks left by bread from that time. Today, Kakazu Ridge is preserved as a park. Visitors can still see the caves, gun positions, and monument. It has become an important place for peace education, reminding us of the heavy cost of war. Standing here, we can feel the weight of history, of the lives lost, and of those who tried to defend this land. At the same time, we were reminded of the precious value of peace, which allow us to stand here today in safety. This was Kaka's Ridge, a battlefield that tells us both the tragedy of war and the importance of peace. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.